Good morning, everybody. This is James with Remote Concepts. Figured I'd do a little shop tour and, just an update video. I do a lot of work on customer builds and stuff, so we'll go over a couple of those things and some new projects in the shop. So, I guess the first thing we'll talk about here is this little TRX4. This is a customer car. This came in to do a body and some bumpers, and she needed a little bit of love, so we'll go over what we did here so far. So this is a Traxxas TRX4. I believe this was a Land Rover edition when it first started, but the customer's modified it some, and he's definitely used it. So this came in, and it had a pretty beat up SR5 pickup body on it, and some magnetic mounts that didn't quite work out, and he wanted to spruce it up and fix it up, and unfortunately he had bent the chassis in a couple places. The center of the chassis was fine, but the ends of the chassis were pretty bent up. So to accommodate this new Proline cliffhanger body that I did this cool little paint job on, kind of an Ivan homage, maybe a little bit of 70s flair with the copper and the white and yellow on the orange combo. Came out pretty sweet. But the other thing we did with this was I took the front of the chassis and straightened it out as much as possible. It's about as straight as it's going to get now. And since it was all bent up, and we wanted to accommodate this much shorter body than what you would normally get on a rock crawler, it's got more overhangs. This is built for purpose here. So we banged up some, or I banged up some bumpers for this, and it bracing the front of the chassis, and shortened it up and giving it some super sweet approach angle you can see there. So yeah, we built this front bumper, simple little flat plate bumper, kind of give it a little dimple die effect with the countersink, and a nice little simple little bar in the front. Still got to build a light kit for this, but we're waiting for some parts for that. And then in the rear here, built a little flush fit bumper. You can see there. So the rear of the chassis on this was a little tweaked too, from falling off a few things and just being used. So yeah, this is just a simple little square tube little bumper, and straightened out the back of the chassis as much as we could, and banged up this little bumper. So this truck will be going home with its owner today. And yeah, it came out sweet. Looks really good. Really happy with the paint job. Colors work together. And we'll finish up a light kit for this later and get all the parts. We'll do some panels under here, some LED headlights. We did make the lenses all clear, which is an option with that Proline body. It's really cool of them to do that. And then I think we'll probably find a little interior panel to put in there, and it'll be a sweet little truck. I think he may do some new wheels and tires. We're looking at something a little bit more aggressive, maybe some 105 VP methods, some big rings or something. The Incisions are nice wheels, but I think he wants to really bump it up and put some really nice gear on it. So then the other thing I got for you, I had to do it. I saw one of these. I was like, I'm not a huge Ford guy, but I dig mostly a Toyota guy, Jeep guy. But this new 2021 Bronco, I mean, it just looks good. I built a small one with one of those new bright bodies off Element Trail Runner, kept the independent front end, and it was a really cool little car, but I had some stuff come up and ended up letting that go. But yeah, this came about, and yeah, I decided to do one of these. So we started modifying this a little bit. I've driven it stock. It's been a long time since I've driven a stock vehicle, but this actually really surprised me how well it did. I've got a video up on the YouTube channel, driving this thing around, beating on it, and playing with the lockers and that sort of thing. Seeing what we can make it up with the open diffs and whatnot. So, but yeah, this is the new project. I already modified the front end, so this comes with kind of an add-on piece for the bumper. It's got like a winch in it, and then options for the new Traxxas winch. But I just didn't like how far it stuck out, and wanted to do something a little bit cleaner. I'll put a servo winch in this later. But yeah, we cut up that stock mount and retained the D-ring mounts out of it, and flush mounted the fair lead into the bumper just to give it a little bit of color in the front end, not just the bland black bumper out there. So we've already done that. And then I got some electronics equipment here ready to go for it. So I got a new receiver. I'll put it on my radio, a little Mamba X, 3300 ohms, little Polar motor, and a nice little Holmes servo. I got all this secondhand, so that'll be a good little kit. And then I'm gonna put a Samex brass kit on the front and play around with it. Waiting on another spare wheel and tire. So I did a set of Proline trenchers. Really like these tires, they work really well. And a set of sweet little Method 105s on it. And just make this a really cool little runner. Waiting on the new Pro Series Traxxas light kit for this. Should look really killer. From what I understand, all of the halos and everything will light up on this, and the taillights are supposed to look really killer. So yeah, that's a new project in the shop. Got stuff going on around here. Yeah, and I'll grab a couple other cars, a few shop cars, a few project builds in the shop we'll go over. Alright, so a few other little updates going on in the shop here. Got a couple of my projects. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer to get stuff done, my own stuff done. One, because I'm kind of picky about it all. Not that I'm not picky on the customer cars, but yeah, when you're working on stuff, sometimes your stuff takes a lot longer. So we can start here. This is my 1941 Willys gasser project. This started off as it's a 1/6 scale. It's an RC toy grade item. I think they sold these at Toys R Us years ago. But I managed to pick one of these up at a car show swap meet, fairly inexpensive, and thought, man, that would be cool to make an actual gasser out of it. Maybe I can find a picture and insert one of what this looked like factory. But this will be four-wheel drive. So completely building the chassis from scratch because this is toy grade. I don't know if you can peek inside of there. You can see a transmission. There's a Capra transmission inside there, mocked up already. And some of you might notice that that's backwards. It's for a reason. So we got in the back here, we can flip this around. Got the starting of the rear frame, just to kind of hang the shocks and everything. Still got to build the rest of the structure. But wheels and tires, we're using Traxxas drag car rear wheels with 14 millimeter hex. So I have adapters for that on a SSD rear axle there. It's a Wraith axle. And then starting the links here, still gonna need to build frame horns or frame rails. And you can see my my front links here. I thought these were cool. These were old axial links off of something. They're just plastic ones, but this is just a fun little drag car little project. So that's the links here. And then I chopped up an old frame, aluminum frame, made a servo mount. This is a 4-link up front. So Wheelie King axle, but it kind of has like a chassis mounted servo there. Started building a mount, and you'd think there'd be a bunch of bumps there, but we've really limited the suspension movement on this, so activating, there's almost no bumps there. It's very little travel. This isn't a rock crawler. It's just to be a fun thing to muck around on the street. So you may be asking what the transmission backwards is for. And that's to build the line lock. So this will be 4-wheel drive. So the dig will activate backwards, and hopefully we'll put like a drift unit in this for a smoke unit. Be able to make it look like it's doing some smoky burnouts. And then I've got a Traxxas audio kit that will retrofit into this, and just a sweet, cool little 8-scale motor in it. You know, with I have a Mamba Monster ESC. We'll run this thing on a 4-cell, and you know, pretty low kV, you know, 2200 kV motor or something. Should be just fun to poke around. We got the new Proline vintage mags here that will patina out when this is all done. This is not the final paint job, this is just the base of it. And the name of this race car will be Carolina Honey. So, you know, figure like an old 60s dragster from South Carolina, I think. And then this big blower here, I mean, it's a little out of scale. I don't know what this would be in real life if you scaled it out. You know, this thing was a little bit cartoonish when I got it. I don't know, maybe that thing's like a 30 to 8 blower. I don't know the size of this thing, but either way, I do have a hood for this. And then we stole the Halibran stacks off an Arma car to make a cool Halibran. And grab the hood, show you what it looks like with the hood. So there's a shot of the wheelies with the hood on it, the Halibran stacks sticking out. Yeah, looks good next to the old Texaco sign there. It's just stick out just out of the hood, but it looks kind of cool with it, the hood off. Yeah, it still looks cool with the hood on. Put some little magnets to hold the hood on. So yeah, that'll be a fun project. Still got to build frame rails for it, do all the lights, build an interior, roll cage. Yeah, still working on that. And then the next one I got here is this is an old truck for me. This truck was actually built a number of years ago. If any of you guys follow my channel for a long time, you know that it was 2006, 2005, somewhere back there. YouTube had just started, and I've been around desert cars and desert racing my whole life, and wanted an RC trophy truck, and I had built one before that, but the gear that we were running just wasn't up to par. And then at that time in the industry, some of the bigger axles started coming out, so we actually built some trucks that could boogie, and then we built a few more. So this truck was built a long time ago. This truck started, it's gone through many iterations, but a friend of mine owned it, and then he moved on. He had kids and stuff, and I said, hey, you know what, I want to revamp that truck into something new. So this is its new iteration. It used to have a Slash F-150 like 70s Ford body on it, but we got rid of all that, and building this is from Associated. If any of you guys know Northrop Fab, this is a replica of his truck, essentially, with my own flare. So you can see we've used, this just has an axial, race rear axle in it. It's actually got some nice parts in it, just the housing stock. I may change that, but yeah, just revamping this. So this is some of the new additions. Used VP cross section to create a new cross brace in there. Sweet UC Fab sway bar on it. This is blitz based in the front, so this uses a nitro bulkhead, but we got blitz arms. And then I found some old little Entity shocks that looked really cool, so I mounted those in there. And you know, figured turbocharge it. We used some mirrors off a laser nut buggy. Turbos came from an Arma car. Then the exhaust, our old axial exhaust, got pumping out of the hood right there. Should look pretty cool. I started doing all the tube work on this. Cut down the chassis to fit the body, and yeah, built all these bars. Are all radiused, so you know, building to that cab is basically a bubble in both directions. So it can be a little bit hard to get bars to really fit in there. But yeah, this is a little work in progress, and we'll get farther on it. This is one of my cars, so it's all done. We'll do some running video on it and do a sweet patinaed paint job on this. A little bit of old, a little bit of new. Found some Proline wheels for it. going with a 1.9. This used to use a 2.2 3.0 short course setup, but making it fit with the 1.9s. Yeah, here's another one of the shop builds, one of my builds. And we got this thing. A little bit of mechanic syndrome. They'll get done one of these days. The last truck we'll talk about today is this is a customer build. We've been waiting on a few parts for this. This just came in. So this is essentially a clone of my Capra truck on element rails. A customer seen my truck and a friend of mine's truck. We've built a few of these. But he wanted one built, and spared no expense here. Really great guy, putting all the nice kit on this one. So this is a set of element rails modified with a Capra grafted in it, essentially, and then a mixture of parts. 10-1 Samex shock towers. And we've modified the dig unit here, so we run a full-size dig, decision drive shafts, and then super shafty Capra axles with HR outers, fully built, all the Vanquish shafts, TGH 30% gears in front, Vanquish ring and pinion spools. Yeah, loaded in all the axles. Yeah, we got SW4, the split BC on this for the dig and the servo. Running a high-tech 950 in this one, but it's literally a Capra skid and links and everything grafted into an element chassis. And then we've got this Proline Power Wagon body. We're still waiting on a couple parts to finish up the fab work on the body here. We'll have a RC 4-wheel drive M8000 old school vintage winch wrenched into the grill here, and power shift lights coming. Finished chopping up the fenders. The lights get here. We'll build some custom tube sliders for the side. The back we're probably going to leave open, no bumper, but also bobbed and section the bed. So these Power Wagon bodies traditionally have like a little gap here. Did this more comp style, a little bit still trail running, but yeah, took that space out of the bed there, shortened it up a little bit, and then sectioned and bobbed the bed. And gonna do a sweet old school patina body, kind of farm truck, you know, something you would have found roaming around an apple orchard or something, and turned it into this rock crawling beast. It's got some nice Vanquish wheels, trencher wheels and tires, Proline trenchers again. We'll build a cool little flat bumper for the front shaft winch in there. So yeah, we got all the parts in for this one now, and we'll get this one finished up. Everything else is mocked up, and axles and everything all built. Transmission's been gone through, all the grease and everything applied, because you know they don't do any of that. This was a kit, so I had to, you know, start it off as a Capra kit and then put it on these rails. It's been pretty proven, pretty durable, and run the crap out of mine. You've probably seen it fly off a cliff a few times, and yeah. So this customer wanted to do this, making a sweet truck out of that. So there's a few trucks in the shop, a couple of my builds, a couple customer builds. This baby's going home today, and then we'll get all the parts to build a light kit. But there's just a few things in the shop, so thanks for hanging out with me today. Bye.